Hello creatives, welcome to Artist Star. My name is Beth and I am at the gallery today for the Zodiac series. This reading is for Sagittarius, whose correlating major arcana card is Temperance. This is the artist card, here to represent you as the open vessel ready to receive whatever source can draw from the well of infinite creativity. So Sag, this is a spread called Creative Depths. And in this first row, I'm going to be using the Spirit Messages cards. And we're going to ask the question, what do I need to be reminded of and keep in mind at this time? And in the second row, with the Creativity Oracle, we're going to ask, under what new light do I need to consider this information? And then in the third row, with the Soul's Journey, we are going to ask, how best can I begin to apply what comes to me? Then we're going to follow up with the Cards of Truth and the Lenormand cards, and then we're going to ask Source what else they would share. So we're going to use the Archetype cards. Then we're going to get a timing with the Moon card, and then we'll get a nice message with the Starseed cards. So let's get started and flip over the Spirit Messages and ask the question, what do I need to be reminded of and keep in mind at this time? Soul Solitude. Your soul needs attention. There are moments when it's important to get away, not just from the noise of the outside world, but to find a place where your soul can experience peace and quiet, a place for solitude. This is a time to pause, a time to reflect, and a time for you. So important to be reminded of exactly that. Lovely. Okay, so to find your creative depth, part of your process is recognizing when to say when and to take care of you. And what that might mean in this instance is just that time out to pause, to reflect, that meditation of just looking back at something and understanding something more of it. Just, a meditation on it. It can be over a cup of tea. It doesn't have to be sitting on the cushion. It can just be that time for reflection, because that's where, in this case, it is where your soul can experience that peace and quiet, that tranquility that is so necessary to let that next little creative bump. So let's look at the Cards of Truth around this. The Three of Spades. Okay, so remedies and cures. This is also strength, energy, and right, it is very interesting because it's the counterpart to the red threes, which is Temperance. So Mercury, right? No, Mars. It's a Mars card. So it's taking action around how you know your own strengths. This is a little bit of a mystery. So this is what you need to be reminded of and to keep in mind at this time. Part of your process to get into the depths of your creativity have something to do with taking that time for the solitude to really cement whatever message is in there for you out of whatever situation you've just found yourself in around knowing your own strength. Wow. Okay, so yeah, strength energy. It's Mars energy. In the cards of truth, it's fire energy. Sagittarius, you are a fire sign. So, my goodness, this is pretty cool here, right? So you just might take a moment to check your astrology chart, your birth, and where the transits are happening, and just see what's connecting here with these planets and these houses. And because you're Jupiter, and now we've got Mars. So if that's meaningful to your chart, it may give you some more depth to this reading. Let's see what the Lenormand cards have. The coffin. So this is literally putting a nail in the coffin of something. So it's figuring out your process, how you know your own strengths, and in this case, it is really knowing when to say when. I mean, it speaks to me of knowing when to say when in order to have that time to recognize that you need that space in order to understand the gratitude of what it is that is done, right? Done. And that you can move on, relish, understand what it was, but that you now know it's something that needs to be let go, because that's what the threes do. They are sorting through and letting go of something that has had value to them. So it's a little more difficult, but it is parting with something that has had value. So something in your physical and mental well-being, in order to have that opportunity to reboot your experience, right? Your soul's experience in this creative, amazing place that you have found yourself in. It's just part of the process of taking care of you. Okay. All right, so let's move on and look at the Creativity Oracle and ask the question under what new light do I need to consider this information? Limits. All right, this is curious. Know that limiting attitudes are often formed as protective reactions to past events. So it's saying don't have a limiting attitude, that comes from a need to protect yourself, or it's just a protective reaction to something that has happened in the past. Well, that's a pretty good clue as to what new light to look at this in, because this is information that allows you to know that perhaps you have been putting some limitations around whatever it is that's letting go. Maybe just the thought that it's because you don't particularly see the need or the want or have the want to let this go. You're still finding or having value in something that has had its season, its time, and it's let go in order to provide for something new and better to come along. All right, so look at that beautiful star up there in the sky. And look, Sagittarius, there's your horse riding away in the kingdom. You, the archer. Yeah, that is really an interesting black and white thinking, right? limits. Don't have them. Be open. Be open to that, which you are as a Sagittarius, right? You are totally open to that kind of thought. You're mutable and you're joyful. It's the Jupiter, the planet of expansion. You're always ready to embrace something interesting and see the bigger picture in it. All right, so let's see what else we have here. 4 of Spades in reverse. Okay. So, it could be that you're more stuck in the idea of not letting go or not seeing the value in it, perhaps, and perhaps just waiting a little too long in order to really understand the value of letting something go. Because limiting, right? Limiting is limiting, and you don't want to limit. If it's a thought, why limit? Why not just do your thing, Sagittarius, and let all of the thoughts come. Write them down. Keep a pros and cons, and just understand that it's a game, right? And you're seeing what feels stable in this remedy and cures, right? And this is stability in your physical and mental well-being in order to understand the value of what you had and what has had its time, and now it's time to move on. The dark 4s, the black 4s, are all about the Hierophant, and he is all about that deep knowledge, that ancestral, really just this innate DNA in your body information that if you sit with it, you will find it. So to limit that kind of thinking and to brush it off and to not really understand what this gift was, right? So it's stopping to think about what the gift was, gratitude that it was there for you, and then knowing that in order for you to be in the right emotional as well as spiritual and having that balance and that just lovely, solid, peaceful, quiet place for your soul to just blossom. Yeah, that it needs to be taken a look at and understand that ungrounding is okay too. It's just thinking. So you've got the Star in reverse. Yeah, so it just kind of speaks that this is a difficult task for you to do. That your well-being, emotional, mental, physical, right, is a very real thing for you. And it's very hard to let go of what has worked. But really, you're just readjusting, you're just opening it up to sort it through and make room for something better. Nothing wrong with that. Especially if you find the time to be grateful for what it was for you. But yeah, the 3 of Spades is not an easy card. It is the true grit card. It is you having a pretty big challenge to get this done. And you know what your challenges have been. This is where you are going to be able to sink into your depth of creativity and understand that dissecting and understanding what that gift was, that thing that came to fruition, and worked so well for you needs to be adjusted. It doesn't have to die. It doesn't have to be buried, the idea needs to be reinvented, if you will. You can take from it what you know and understand that that is a really brilliant tool in your toolbox. But that is what you're being reminded of here, that is a bit of a difficult job to do, to wrap your brain around that and to see that through. It's very difficult. You don't really understand the stability that it would provide you to realize that the limits that not being able to make this decision puts on you. And you don't want to be limited in your creativity. So it's just an attitude adjustment here, basically. So let's find out how best you can begin to apply the study and the putting into production, if you will, how to let go. All right, let's see. Balance. Love this card here. Of course, right? Finding the balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So yeah, there is absolutely nothing wrong with exploration. That is exactly what everybody needs to do in order to establish a balance, the balance that is right for who you are, right? All right. So let's see what the cards of truth have. The 5 of Clubs. This is a very nice card for you to get here because honestly, it is telling you or giving you a very nice suggestion as to how to go about recognizing and fulfilling this a little quicker and a little with less reluctance, and maybe even to embrace the joy of it. So the 5 of Clubs, all right? This is the Jupiter energy, and it is also air energy, and it is also the card that you really have to sort through intellectual knowledge and pursuit of how you go about doing that through a trial and error process. So it's actually this beautiful dance that you do, a dance of life. You're like, if you could envision a butterfly or a bee going from flower to flower and tasting a little of this and grabbing a little of that, and everything is beautiful, everything is nourishing, it's all good stuff, yet you don't take it all. You only take bits and pieces. You can't take all of the nectar. It's impossible. So you take what you can carry, what you can hang on to, what you can keep, and let the rest go. And then you move on to the next experience, the next flower. And from there you end up understanding that it is part of the process to dive in, explore, and experiment and sort it through all of the stuff that worked a little bit, but it wasn't the ultimate thing. And when you find the ultimate thing, having had this experience of visiting, taking, letting the rest go, is really what you needed all along to understand what you end up with is the perfect thing. Really pretty beautiful for you. Yeah, this is, for all the difficulty it is in seeing, maybe even, and it's hard to let something go that's been working for you, but there's something better there for you, Sagittarius. Let's see what we have here. The fox. Ooh, I like this here. I know the fox card gets a bad rap because it can be about someone trying to deceive you, but in this case, it is about you deceiving yourself into thinking that there's more something to squeeze out of your mental and physical comfort and well-being when there isn't. The thing you got to do is to take time, understand it, and to let it go, make room for something more. Everything has a season, and this is your true grit. This is where you are going to find that gorgeous, lovely, gooky goodness of creative energy that you can flourish with. Absolutely amazing. So no deceptions, no self-deceptions, no limiting yourself, and understand that you can be guided. I mean, look, stars, this is beautiful. It's all about you becoming more aware of your process and how you appreciate and let go, grieve if you have to even, and yeah, in order to find that balance, to get incredibly creative and do your thing with a very clear and clever way. Foxes are clever. They know how to get what they want. It can be elusive, but not necessarily. In this case, I think if you put yourself in the mind of a fox, you will evade the trappings of your own self. Yes. All right, let's see what else Source would share with you. Wounded child. Very interesting for you to get this, because maybe this is how ingrained this process is. It's a big one. True grit, light attributes, awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Open the learning path of forgiveness. Wow, that is really big. And of course it would be a part of this, right? Yeah. Shadow blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. So this just makes me think, in order to be able to move on, right? You have to own it. You have to own what your bits are, and you have to make your peace with those bits. And when you understand it, then it's easier to feel that forgiveness. And this can be a forgiveness for yourself, because you learn, right? You learn and you move on, and you do it differently. You do it better. You do it with care as best you can. Yeah. But you can't not take ownership. Whatever life has handed you, it's the lemonade out of lemons, right? We've all got our lemons, and it's our responsibility to make the lemonade. Balsamic moon, a time for healing. That's beautiful. You're ready, right? Remedies and cures. Vibration. Your vibration is being raised to higher levels. You are connected to cosmic intelligence. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Well, there you go, Sagittarius. Best of luck to you maneuvering through this and finding your balance. But yeah, it's a journey, but what better compost for that creative energy that's so ready to be tapped, that this is your depth. This is where you're going to find the juicy bits. All right. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And as always, happy creating.